The European Flavour Association launched its Flavour Ambassadors multimedia project in 2019. This exciting project is aimed at sharing the passion and expertise of European flavour professionals. Through this project, we aim to give the industry a voice and showcase its many facets and the blend of knowledge that's needed to create flavourings, which ultimately enrich our food and drinks every day. Thank you for tuning in for today's interview. Hi, could you tell us your name and profession?
So my name is Stephanie Salord. I'm currently leading a natural and clean label platform at Firmenich, and at the same time I'm also managing the team of global innovation flavorists.
How does your typical working day go?
Well, you know, the working day is usually very global. So morning talking to Asian colleagues, in the afternoon it's more the Americas. So that's a lot of coordination activities and also working on building the future business cases and initiating projects that will help us lead in the domain of naturals. So my working days are very collaborative, but also I have and I do enjoy having tasting sessions with my creative colleagues who remember to invite me for some of their new development tastings, and that's always a great pleasure.
And who do you work with? And also, how do you perform as a team?
Well, that's really what I like in my job is this cross-functional activities that we have. So in particular on naturals, we work a lot with the purchasing, you know, the strategic sourcing, and our colleagues who do in particular sustainable sourcing projects. So that's a very important team for us. Then we work also with research, of course. That's the other important partner. As an innovation team, of course, we are collaborating a lot with research, with developing new capabilities for us to develop new solutions. We're also working with the regions because in each region there are people working, you know, in front of customers. We are more the back office, let's say, and in front of customers, they need to have tools in their hands to be formulating and performing. So these are our internal customers. So that's a little bit the first set of people, but we also work with very closely with the regulatory colleagues because as we work on the natural domain, there are lots of rules around the natural definitions that are important to capture well. What else? We have the sensory teams, we have the marketing colleagues. So it's almost, including supply chain, it's almost all the functions of the company that we engage with. So it's quite broad, I would say.
How long have you worked in the industry, and why did you choose this career?
Well, basically, I've been working I've always been working in the flavor industry. I never worked anywhere else, so that's the only thing I know. But I really, when I discovered the flavor industry, I thought this is where I need to work because I was in a training period during my food science and marketing master degree. And at that time, I was working for Solina as a trainee. And when I discovered their flavor library, I could not believe there were bottles that were containing flavors smelling like melted butter or roasted beef. So that was really a big discovery for me, and that's when I decided to work in this industry that is so fascinating. It's 25 years that I entered this industry. In fact, yeah.
Are you still passionate about the flavour industry?
Yeah. That's funny because you don't get bored. You know, there are so many things to discover and to understand that you don't have the impression that you you can grasp it all. So no, after 25 years, it's still very interesting, and the challenges are evolving as well. So that's what is interesting, because when I entered the industry, natural was there, but not as a very important trend, and now it's becoming the new challenge, because everybody wants to eat natural products. So they want very performing natural flavors, but also products that are not labeled as flavors. And this is now the new challenge that we have ahead of us.
Can you tell us what is at the core of working on the natural and clean label platform?
This platform is really transformational for our company, but it's also the case for the industry. So as I said, the consumers now, they are very careful. They read the labels. They want to understand, what they eat, what they buy, and frankly, flavors are not clear for consumers. They don't know what this means, what it contains, if it's coming from nature, how it's been processed. So there are lots of question marks around flavors for consumers that we need to, let's say, help them understand. And so it's an interesting challenge, because we do a lot of good things. We put a lot of good ingredients in flavors, but it's not always clear. And of course, flavors are very complex. Some of them, they contain more than 50 different ingredients. So it would be very complicated to explain all of the elements that constitute a flavor. Now, what we are looking at is developing more transparency on ingredients that have a story. So having, extracts that have really a connection with the farmers at source, that to really evidence all the good things that happen backstage, in the at the source, for instance, but also on the processes. So really for the for our my platform is really about how can we reconnect the good things we do, the nature that is in our product with the consumers through claims, for instance, so different labelings, different claims that can be on our customer products, but also through different elements of sustainability, different the profile also that needs to be very natural. So there are different ways to convey natural perception to consumers, and this is what we are exploring in this platform. So the strength that we have and that we build upon is really the extraction process. We have at Firmenich a center of expertise in the south of France, in Grasse, which is the cradle of the flavor industry, and there we really process only natural products. So it's a very powerful platform for us to start upon. But upon that, and by the way, it's organic certified, so we can do a lot of things out of this Grasse natural extract manufacturing site. But on top of that, we are developing also new food ingredients that can also bring additional properties using fermentation, using what we call the kitchen technique. So really when you really push the preparation of food so that it delivers more flavor. So that's really the idea of this innovation activities we have right now in this platform to really reinvent new ingredients to create flavors, or not flavors labeled as flavors, but flavors that will be more specific on the ingredients they contain. So that's a very interesting and innovative approach that we are taking right now. Now, this is really for I would say the clean label part, but when it comes to natural flavors, as you know, there are plenty of challenges of natural raw material sourcing. So you heard about vanilla. There are many raw materials that are in small quantity because we cannot produce more than and not enough clearly to satisfy consumers' demand. So this is where our strength in biotechnologies is also helping us to keep the natural flavors available, cost effective. So that's another important capability on this platform. Very focused on innovation and the development of a new business.
What is the role of the Global Innovation Creation Team?
Sure. So this is a team that is focused on making the interface between let's say fundamental research capabilities that are developed by our corporate research team. At Firmenich we have a strong legacy on research, and we really have great scientists who work on the receptor-based screening of molecules. We have different fundamental activities that are, I would say, with a great scientific depth. But then our team in global innovation is really to take those capabilities and apply them to the flavor world. So we are the guides, let's say, to research, and the people who help transferring this capability into business. So we are really at the interface between research and the regions, where people in the regions are really dealing directly with customer requests. So they are really on the rush of the product development. So we are a little bit the intermediate team who is looking at mid to long-term projects and developing new ingredients or new technologies for encapsulation or new taste modifiers solutions. So this is really our role, and within that group, of course, we have application specialists, so people who are very knowledgeable about the way we make food, but also flavorists who are, of course, skilled for putting together solutions and understanding the value of certain ingredients for given tonality, for instance, and project managers who will really help coordinate and lead those projects very efficiently. So this is the structure that we have in place in this global innovation team.
And why do you stay in contact with the regions? Are there different expectations?
Exactly. Yeah, there are different tastes, there is different cultures, but there is also different legislation, different market needs. For instance, in China, there is no natural flavor declaration, whereas in Europe and the US, this is very established. So this is so the market needs will be quite different, and yeah, in terms of even the palette of ingredients that you can use is different from region to region.
And how did you get your start in the flavor industry? What training did you receive?
So I graduated from an engineering school in food science and marketing. So original training I had, and this is during this that I did my training periods in the flavor industry. Then after, I worked for 6 years at Quest International, that was later acquired by Givaudan. And I moved in 2002 at Firmenich, and I was then trained as what we call a flavor technologist. So it's between an application specialist and a flavorist, but it's not as sophisticated, of course, as a flavorist. But it's people who work with building blocks, let's say, to combine, especially in savory, some powder blends. So this is a training I received when I was in the technical team at Firmenich. So that's a little bit my background. So since 2002, I'm at Firmenich.
What is the flavor industry to you, and what is food to you?
Food is my pleasure, so I'm married to a flavorist, so of course every time we eat, we describe what we eat, we explore, we try new things. We are it's really a big part of our lives, tasting and appreciating food.
What is it that you like the most or find particularly fascinating about your job?
Working in the flavor industry is fascinating, of course, because of what I just said. But in the current job and the different positions I had, what I really like is the evolution. So really be driven by the evolution of consumers' preference, consumers' demand, and evolve our solutions according to that.
Now, what is your favourite and least favourite flavouring?
White truffles from Alba are served with tagliolini, and they are served with butter and fresh white truffle from Alba. So it's a very complex flavor, but this is amazing. So that's a very good one. It's not the only one, but that's one that I can think of at this time of the year. And the most disliked, well, I recently came across bad quality cinnamon, and it's really disgusting when it's low quality.
What is the most interesting thing you've worked on so far?
I think one of the things that I found really interesting was when we worked on tea. Tea is a very subtle tonality, and in particular, we had worked on signature Chinese teas. We had a promotion called Tea Innovation at the time, and this is where I really worked with our colleagues in China and research in China to rework completely our what we call the aromasphere, so all the descriptors around tea. And we did a really in-depth exercise of having the right descriptors for tea, but in particular in China, they had a descriptor that was very difficult to grasp for us initially as Western people. It was called huigan, which is a very delicate sweetness that you get at the end of the throat. So when you swallow the tea, at the end you have like a nice sweetness that comes back. There were so many descriptors like that were from a cultural perspective completely new for me as a European. That's really the interesting part of our job to bring the novelty and interesting experiences that people have never had before.
If you could go back, would you choose the same career path again?
Yeah, it was a great coincidence that I discovered that it exists, and I'm very happy to be part of that industry.